We are now recording because the light wasn't on. So now we're recording.
Recording?
Yes, we're recording.
All right, cue the music.
All right. You know what?
That's okay. We can cue the music later. We'll do that in post-edit.
We'll do that in post. Yeah, we'll add.
Hey, guys.
What's up? What's up? Oh, hey, I got a paper in front of me, too.
What do you got? Yeah, we got papers, man. I try to be prepared here. Hey, if you're watching this, we are Our Town, the podcast extraordinaire.
Yes.
Welcome.
Are we doing NPRs out while we're doing this?
Am I talking like
you sound like you're doing an NPR. This is great. So
Find out
awesome.
what's happening out there today. Hey, welcome, though. If you're listening, watching, we are Our Town Podcast. And Todd, why don't you kick us off with who we are and what we're doing?
Okay. Well, we're three guys who live in a town in Western Washington called Renton, or
Beautiful place.
or as we call it, Renton,
Beautiful place.
because there's no T when we say it. There's an apostrophe there, Renton. And so these guys came over to me and said, "Hey, we want to do a podcast." So I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I'm down to record anytime. We can talk about whatever."
So this is. Do we call this episode 0 or do we call this episode 1?
Yeah, I did 0.1 maybe.
0.1.
Yeah,
I like
actually
that.
have
It's
the mic
pilot,
at your face there, Mike.
It's the pilot.
What's that?
And you have to have it up to your face.
I'm not sure that it's doing the thing. Can you hear me through a microphone?
I can hear you just fine. Yeah.
Oh, can you?
Oh, good.
Oh, all right.
Turn your volume up a little bit so you can hear it. There you
We
go.
want Mike to participate fully.
Yes.
Well, 3/4.
So, as Todd said, coming to you from beautiful, historic, and energetic downtown Renton.
Right.
Yes, and I have always called this particular block the heart of downtown Renton. Across the street was the Roxy Theater, and this is the building we're in is the Renton Civic Theatre.
Yes.
And a big shout out to Mr. Bill Holes, the artistic
Yes.
director here, for
Thank you,
allowing
Bill.
us to have some space.
Yes.
Because otherwise we'd be coming from Todd's living room.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of noise. There's a dog and cats and teenagers that don't have volume control.
Oh, teenagers.
And all they do all day is watch like YouTube videos or Twitch streams and squeal and enjoy while they're watching these videos. And I go, "Why are you screaming?" Because they did this thing. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Well, another awesome thing is for you watching out there, most shows will make you wait about half a season before you get to the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
We're giving it to you right out of the
Yeah,
gate. man.
it's going to be next week. Next week is Christmas.
Christmas is coming up fast.
Yeah.
And I brought you guys
Oh,
a very delicious treat that I know you're going to like.
what a kind man.
Very
Yeah,
kind guy.
Such a nice guy.
This is the Jones Soda Holiday Release. It's a turkey and gravy soda. And for you, those who don't know, I believe Jones Soda is made here in the Seattle area.
It is made in Seattle, yeah.
Bottled here.
All right.
So I've brought you guys the turkey and gravy to enjoy on this very special Christmas episode, holiday
I've
episode.
seen this before. It doesn't end well, folks.
I think it's going to end just fine.
Do we have-
Todd.
So this is turkey and gravy soda, and I think these are twist offs.
Are they twist offs?
Yeah, it says twist off right on the cap there.
I should have recorded that closer. All right, are we going to do this all together? Hold on.
All right.
I'm getting notes of dark meat. And
I'm
mashed
smelling
potato.
gravy right now. Am I supposed to be smelling gravy?
Now, before we drink, I was really debating on whether or not I should bring this cold or if I should bring this sort of warm because
Room
it is
temperature.
turkey and
Yeah,
gravy,
no,
right?
that's a point.
But it is soda, so I don't
And
like
everybody
warm
raised
soda.
the fridge anyway, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, we'll just pretend it's a turkey sandwich.
Take my gum out of my mouth so I don't
Down the hatch,
taint my
boys?
gum.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Thanks
First
for doing this,
episode.
boys.
Cilantro, which is Irish for good health.
You know, it's not as disgusting as I thought it would be.
No, but it kind of just
It tastes like
it's
gravy.
like something I might have eaten as a baby.
It's
like
like-
off of the floor.
It's-
you know, like something fuzzy.
This is what the theater floor tastes like.
Picked up some hair along the way.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Jones, what? As sodas go, I mean, I'll finish this, but
Jones Soda, if you're looking for sponsorship opportunities, let me just say we're probably not going to be the best, but we will be the cheapest.
we're not going to drink this stuff again for sure. But yeah,
And the vast majority of Jones Soda is not gravy and turkey flavored.
No, they've actually got some really good flavors.
Kind of the liquid version of the Star Wars Christmas special. There's a little Boba Fett in there, but there's also a lot of really
this definitely tastes like the this definitely tastes like the scene where Grandpa Wookiee is watching porn. So, yeah. If you haven't seen the holiday special, it is on YouTube, and I don't recommend watching it.
No.
Unless you want to add to your therapy bill.
Or you have, access to...
I mean, they're actually on Vimeo, the video site.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody did a fan edit. They call it a watchable version.
Okay.
I will link if you guys want to watch it to this. It's essentially the Wookiee section of the special without Grandpa watching porn. But it's funny because that's exactly what he's doing. He's watching Irene Cara sing, and she's all being flirty with him, and he's like, hey.
As much as porn is free these days, I might actually pay for Wookiee porn. I'm just saying.
Kashyyyk porn.
So, right out of the gate, Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.
Merry Christmas.
All right, so on our little podcast here, we're going to do several things. We're going to give you headlines. We're going to give you our top 5 takes on things. And we're going to do some of that right now.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. You guys want to talk some headlines?
Oh, yeah, it helps to actually talk into the mic and not the bottle.
Hey, it's the first episode, man. We'll get used to it.
I have something in my hand, and I just assumed it was the mic.
Yeah, so kind of dragging through the news like I do every day, which is never a good thing. A big story here in Renton has been this drag queen story hour. You guys heard about this?
Yes. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a big story in and of itself.
No.
It should have been.
Something happened to kind of bring it to the...
Yeah, so I think what happened was there's a brew house here that does allow kids with their parents in, and the owner of the brew house decided to have this drag queen story hour. And after the announcement, somebody drove by the establishment and shot like a pellet gun or a BB gun into one of the windows. Okay. And caused some vandalism, some damage. So she put out the call to supporters, and a lot of supporters showed up to sort of be counter-protesters in case protesters showed up. But why are people protesting this anyway? Why is this such a big deal?
Well, because, the culture wars are being waged right now, really. Yeah. I don't think it has a whole lot to do with the subject matter as much as it has to do with the pushing of people into camps, right? The idea of us being divided on multiple subjects that don't really come down to our day-to-day well-being.
Are you saying it's more of a way just to get out there and be the face of dissension for these folks, or is it...
I don't know. I think, because that's reactionary, right? So that's not necessarily a voice of... I guess that's a type of dissent, but...
for lack of a better word.
Who did it? So it's an assumption on our part that it was kind of motivated by something, unless there is more to that than I know.
Yeah.
But if we don't know who did it, it's dangerous to make assumptions on who.
Right.
Although, I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? But
that's true.
I think it's probably safe to say it's probably somebody connected to the Proud Boys or a similar group.
Because
they've been the ones in the news about being against, men dressed as women telling stories. They never actually say, these are the stories they're reading. We just don't like the fact that these guys are dressed up as women and reading to kids. Sure. It's.
Were they mad at Flip Wilson? You know what I mean? It's like, this is a
Mrs. Doubtfire,
etc. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's why I do think that it's kind of a
Monty Python for that matter.
It's an easy thing to throw out to get a reaction from people, right? Yeah. And I mean, that's part of the human capacity is just to get angry quickly, right?
Right.
But it's also very common nowadays, right?
Yeah.
People getting upset over.
But I mean, that's not the first place that there has been protests against such things, or even like preemptive legislation to ban such things.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
is bonkers.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's odd to me, and I don't know. It's odd. It's odd.
Yeah.
It's a sad state of affairs.
It is.
You've
It's
got,
just weird.
you know.
But I mean, and if it was a pellet gun or something, that's vandalism and not necessarily gun violence. You know what I mean? It's like bullets are different because they travel through their intended targets, whether that is a pane of glass or a bar or whatever.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think it was after hours. I don't think it was during business hours or anything like
It might
that.
have just been good old-fashioned vandalism.
Yeah, it could have been a couple of crappy kids, I've not admitting to anything, but probably have done similar stuff when I was young.
Right.
But yeah, I just think it's ridiculous that we're in 2022, almost 2023.
Right.
And we're still having these arguments about life and people and stuff like that.
And I would say, in addition to that, not just the fact that we're having these arguments, but that there's never really a solution being brought forth.
Right.
Right. That, Besides,
well, I think the activity was the solution, right? Let's get somebody, from that culture, right, to come in and meet with people that may not understand them.
Right.
Sure. I mean, because familiarity kind of can wash away those conceptions, right?
I feel proud that, I've got a couple of kids. One's older. Can't really call him a kid anymore, but he's still my kid. And I've got a younger one that's 12. And I just see that their generation doesn't have these prejudices that are already built in. It wasn't like when we were kids.
Like
where it was easy to use the F word against.
Sure, and when we were kids was far better than back in the day when everybody just stuck to their own ethnicities in different neighborhoods, right?
Yep.
It's like either through legislation like redlining and such, or just through safety, right? It's like, oh no, things have come a long ways.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? But we're still humans, and we still have a long ways to go. And it's like, if we are going to have shouts for liberty, right? It's liberty really means everybody.
It
right?
does.
Up until it affects another
your
citizen,
side
right?
of
That's
the-
kind of the thing.
right.
It's like even the, loudest actual libertarian, and not just some pseudo, new feudalist who really does believe in, personal liberty. Yeah, you draw the line when it affects somebody else, and like violence, real or implied, affects other people.
Yeah.
Right?
And it seems to be the ones that are shouting freedom and liberty the most are the ones that want to trample
It sure
on.
could be. It's radicals anyway, right? And
Right.
Who are a tiny portion. I just read the other day where like radical right-wingers in the U.S. are about 6% of the population, which is a pretty dangerous 6% of the population.
Yeah.
And radical leftists are about 8% of the population. That's right. Okay, so that's 14%. It's like, shut the fuck up. Right. The whole point of a civilization is some type of middle ground, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Compromise,
Right?
right?
And I'm by no means a sellout, bro, by any means. But without that, there is no civilization. Right? We have to learn to just kind of go, well, you get that, and I get mine. Right? That's just how that is.
Yeah. Don't tread on mine. I'm not going to tread on yours. And that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Golly.
All right. Well, hey, we're not shying away from topics here
Clearly not.
on
yes.
the big show. Another story that I've been reading a lot about lately is rape allegations that come out years and years and years later.
The Me Too
after
movement.
some-
Yeah.
Well, not just about the Me Too movement, but like the latest one is one of the Backstreet Boys. I think it's Nick Carter.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me, that was accused of, like in 1998, of taking a fan into the bus, right, and sort of forcing her into sexual acts. Okay, and so now he's having to defend himself on this stuff, right? Obviously, we want every allegation, every victim to be heard, but how do you wander through this? How do you trudge through this journey of accusation and proclamation of innocence 20 years later? In fact, there was a gal that came out a few weeks ago that accused Warren Beatty. You remember Warren Beatty, Bonnie and Clyde,
He's still alive?
Dick Tracy? He's
Warren,
still
yeah,
alive.
Warren
He's like-
Beatty. Yeah.
He's like 80-something.
Yeah, but he was a sex symbol of the time.
Right,
Yeah.
but he's accused of raping an underage girl back in like 72 or 73.
Bummer.
So it's like, I mean,
I don't know.
What do you do in these situations? You know, if you're a guy, because I'm sure there's shit that I've done in the past. Never ever did something like that. I can tell you.
Yeah,
for
we're
sure.
all evil-eyed all of a sudden.
But how would I defend myself when somebody came up and said, "When you were 25, when you were 22, 25 years ago,
When you were on worldwide tour,
when I was on worldwide tour,
Yeah.
actually, we were big in Belgium." Okay,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, I don't know, and that's the difficulty of justice, right? Because justice is a human construct, right?
Right.
And just recently have women had any weight in our justice system at all, right? It's like,
that's a good point.
so that is, all these kind of things are very late in getting here, and I'm not really a lawyer, and I haven't spent much time in the justice system, but
I'm not one either, but I do play one on TV.
nice, yeah. But I also think that men need to disown men who rape.
Yeah, I think we should definitely be calling those guys out.
We can't just kind of like not act like it didn't happen, or not pay attention, or just think it's just some kind of transgression. It's like, because it has to be a social thing, because laws don't stop shit. Yeah. You can punish someone with law, but laws don't prevent dick. So it has to be that social pressure to where, like, you are an outcast or an outlier or a banny shed.
And that's why the Me Too movement was so good, right? For women to be able to come out, victims to be able to come out, men and women, because there's men that have come out too.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as men goes, the big ones were Brendan Fraser and Terry Crews.
And
what?
Both of them
come out as people who had suffered abuse.
Yeah.
For a minute there, I didn't.
No, they didn't come out, Mike.
I thought that they had gotten hit with sexual abuse.
Oh no. They were.
I love both those guys. That would hurt my feelings.
Both of those. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Brendan Fraser kind of disappeared for a number of years, is because he allegedly, said that this guy allegedly had, did whatever he did. I don't remember exactly what the things that the guy did, but the guy was a part of the group that does the Golden Globes. He's like the head person of that group that does the Golden Globes.
Like a Hollywood exec and not like a
powerful person.
He's a powerful person, and I guess he groped or did something that was inappropriate, and when he said something about it, he was like, "What are you talking about? That never happened," and kind of thing. And so he just said, "I'm done. I don't need this." So, and I don't blame him, but he's making a comeback. He's got a bunch of stuff coming out. He's they just had the season premiere of Doom Patrol, which he's a part of.
Oh yeah.
And
he's got a movie coming out called The Whale, which he's
I've heard good things about it. I've not seen any clips or anything.
Yeah, no, he's a capable actor.
Very good.
Doom Patrol I really liked, and I'm just totally off topic, but then they kind of jumped to shark. And I couldn't go back. I just stopped watching.
What was the shark jump? I haven't seen the show.
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, well, in Doom Patrol, and it's Sir Timothy Dalton, right? Yeah, no, honest to God. So he's their
James Bond
group
himself.
leader. He's their Xavier.
Xavier,
Okay?
yeah.
And, but then spoiler alert, he tells them that he set up all of these terrible incidents which ruined their lives but gave them these powers. So he's the catalyst for fucking up their lives, and yet they're still supposed to trust him and work with him. It's like, dude, no.
I've had wives and bosses like that, so not really.
It's a good show if you've not. It's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Doom Patrol. It's essentially where Marvel got the idea for the X-Men.
Is this an animated?
No,
it's live action.
So yeah, it's Brendan and who else besides Sir Timothy Dalton? There's a couple other big.
There's a couple other people you probably would recognize from TV shows.
And
They're not like big name people.
Point, but it's like I just couldn't go past that because there's no way any human being go like, okay, you know what I mean?
They kind of address
like
that.
Either vengeance or quitting the job.
That's exactly. Well, spoiler alert, folks, but that's exactly what they all did. Is like, fuck you, we're out. And
okay,
yeah. So that's. I mean, I would recommend going back and following up on it because they basically called him out on it and said, "Fuck you, you're an asshole." And we're done. And Timothy Dalton stops being on the show. So yeah.
Jeez.
All right. Well, now we're going to have to hashtag Doom Patrol now. So
yes.
I'll skip ahead a couple of minutes.
I'm trying to push on my stool.
All right. All right, heavy topics, I know, but these are sort of the stuff that's come up in the news. Have you guys seen anything else in the news?
No, but I often just sit around and think about what does a just society look like?
Yeah.
And how the fuck do we get there?
Right.
It's like, I think it really is going to come down to societal pressure because you can't legislate your way into it necessarily. Some shit you have to. You have to have standards for your culture, right? You can't have a uranium mine in your backyard. And, you know what I mean? You can't stockpile poop. You know what I mean? It's like
you can, but people won't want to hang out with you.
But we really need, like...
Well, something you alluded to before about, generations. We talked about the generations going back. My kids, and then us were a little bit better, and it gets worse and worse.
As you go back,
Are we going to survive human race long enough to get to the point where we've sort of weeded out all this nonsense?
That's a fine question. Yeah. And how much of that is based on how much is nature versus nurture, right? Because, the Vikings and Genghis Khan and everybody else was raping their way across the planet. So.
I mean, even World War II, the Nanking stuff.
So, but, I mean, we really have come a long ways because there were, rivers of blood back in the old days.
Yeah.
Just I mean, just awful. Just awful. Humans are amazing in their cruelty, but... So we've come a long ways. Whether or not we are going to be able to pull it off before I really see impending environmental cataclysm, I don't know.
Yeah, speaking of that, I saw a news article. They're calling it Firmageddon. Did you see this?
No. Firmageddon.
Researchers in Oregon were studying the forests and found, I think it was 1.1 million acres of fir trees that are dead because of droughts.
Oh, no.
1.1 million acres just calculated by flying over them.
I thought you were going to have a story about furries and something, and I'm like,
no, they're doing fine.
Furries is next week.
Yeah, but they're not at risk of
I'm gonna write
extinction. Yeah, I don't know. And a lot of that is
seriously though
the way in which we've been doing our forestry programs, right? Which is monoculture nonsense and blah blah blah. But now that's all just kindling, right?
Yeah.
So now that's kindling for the next super.
What's going to happen when the
fire.
lightning strikes there?
I don't know. It's
going back to the like Nick Carter, and there's this other story about Danny Masterson, the guy who played Hyde on that '70s show, and
the redhead
and
kid,
Rooster
right?
on the ranch. Apparently, he got his trial for him being a piece of shit, rapist, molester, or whatever. Got a hung jury, and I think the reason why that is because he's got Scientology behind him.
That could be. I mean, they
have
made
a bank
point,
of lawyers.
They made a point to. I think the judge made a point to try to keep Scientology out of. He's a Scientologist lifelong. His wife, I think, is as well.
Yeah, he grew up.
Phillips kids. Phillips' daughter or something.
No, Danny Masterson and his brother, and I think there's and then there's a bunch. Actually, he and the redhead from that '70s show are both they were born into that religion.
Prepon. Laura Prepon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. That's I don't think it's the girl. She was the redhead from that show, but she was also on the Orange is the New Black. Prepon doesn't sound right, but
no idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
but he was accused by 3 different women dating back to the early 2000s, and he was on trial. And unfortunately, again, we go back to just being accused 20-some years later. The witness stories seemed, just by the news reports, seemed like they were inconsistent, right?
Okay, you were right. I was wrong. I was thinking her name was something else, but Laura Prepon.
Flag that you were right, because I like that.
It didn't sound right.
Soundboard. You were right.
I can isolate that and make it a sound.
I like it. First catchphrase.
And that's the difficult thing without physical evidence.
Yeah.
But then again, just abortion,
I've never been in that situation.
Pregnant,
right?
that puts the entire burden on the lady.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know.
I've never been in that situation. I probably never will be in that situation where such a devastating act upon you, right? A torturous act that was forced upon you, and what that does to you emotionally and mentally, and whether or not you can come out and file a police report.
Sure.
Tell your friends about it. You know, I can't put myself in that situation to say, you know, wow, they should have reported it, you know, the next day.
Do you think Danny will become available to work in Hollywood again? Or
well, so my understanding is that because it ended in a hung jury and it was declared a mistrial, they're going to retry, and it's sometime early next year. So he's not off the hook.
They're not giving up on throwing him in jail, which is good.
Yeah. All right. And it was interesting, too, because, and I don't have the specifics on this, but it sounds like one of the charges from one of the women ended like half and half. One of them ended where more would have voted to acquit and less would have voted guilty, and then the other one seemed like it was more would have voted for guilty and less would have voted for to acquit. Sure. But total split, you know, and I think it was a half male, half female jury, so we don't know obviously where that breakdown is, but you know, if he did it, I hope he burns in hell, if you believe in hell. But if he didn't...
There's a special place in hell for Scientologists.
Well, geez, I would say rapists first. But I really know very little about Scientology, so I'm not going to...
Honestly, there was a time where I was just obsessed with like learning as much as I can about that church, because everything I heard seemed like it was like, this is out of a bad science fiction movie.
Yeah. It really is. Did you ever go so bold as to read like Dianetics or anything?
I tried, and it was really bad science fiction. Is what it was.
I'll tell you what. The most that I know about Scientology, I saw on South Park. So.
Right on. Yeah.
You know what? That's actually, and
it was pretty real.
And the thing is everything they said in that episode is exactly what they believe.
Canon, right?
It's real. That's what the higher levels people. I think it's like level 6 and above. I think is the people who know about that shit or are told about that stuff, and they're told to act like whoever's asking you about it they're crazy. They're crazy for asking you about the shit that you think is that you believe that is.
Yeah, but I mean, not to be a dick, but that's any religion thing.
This is true, but it's honestly though. I mean, the weird shit that
I spent 8 years with the Catholics. I mean,
oh, dude. This honestly, I think Scientology makes the Catholics and the Mormons seem like Boy Scouts.
Well, now, and let's not say Catholics and Boy Scouts.
But, no, they don't like Boy Scouts. They like they like altar boys.
I don't know. It's an interesting human capacity, right? Because I don't know. They don't, but I don't know that rabbits sit around and go, well, my God's better than your God.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of I think
my God has longer ears than your God.
It's a human thing, and it's interesting to me. It is. We all have a need for, and I blame our slow maturation rate, because it takes so long. Because a baby foal pops out of a mama fucking deer and scampers off some fucking bird, or a foal is a horse. Anyway, but you know what I mean? And then they're good to go. Yeah. And they still need some protection because they're tiny and blah, blah, blah. Or like a crocodile pops out of an egg and is now competition with its dad, right? It's like humans take 18 plus fucking years to get out of the fucking house.
It's like longer than that in some certain.
Yeah.
My brother's 50 and he hasn't moved out.
So I think that allows for this whatever that need is, you know? And I'm not saying I'm beyond that need, but...
I'll say this, as far as what I've discovered. I mean, if you've never watched that Leah Remini show, I recommend it. Because they talk about everything that the church does to former members or anybody who's against the church. I mean, everything from, stalking to, smear campaigns. There was one guy who they interviewed on there, and I saw his YouTube channel years ago, and he was being followed by these guys, and they were, so what are your crimes, Mike? What are your crimes? Seriously, and they were asking this seriously. They weren't being facetious. They weren't being dramatic or anything. They legit thought this guy was hiding things from them, and trying to make them out to be bad people. And there's stories of this guy. I think it's Mike Rinder that has happened to. This is one of the guys from that Leah Remini show, and they basically, when he stopped being a member of the church, they put up posters that he was a sex offender, fake posters of him being a sex offender in his neighborhood.
I think that's illegal, actually.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating that the head of the church, is it Miscavige?
Miscavige, yeah.
Miscavige. His wife hasn't been seen in 10 years.
Decades, yeah. At least a decade, yeah.
Nobody.
That was one of the reasons why Leah Remini left the church, because she asked about his wife, and she got in trouble for asking about her.
Yeah, because she was a pretty prominent.
About Bruno.
Yeah.
We don't talk about
Interesting, yeah. We'll have to do an in-depth religion or Scientology or all the above.
Well, I say we're equal opportunity on this, right? I don't want to pick on any particular thing.
I don't
have any problems talking shit about religion.
Except flat earthers. I would love to pick on flat earthers.
Oh, definitely. Because, because they're next level stupid is what it is.
Well, and not the people themselves, because it's part of our capacity to believe shit that's hogwash, right? We do it all the time. But that also means, because I like pro wrestling, so that means pro wrestling can continue as a thing, right? Because it's like, we know it's hogwash, but we don't care.
Right.
It's okay.
It's entertainment is the thing. That's the difference between, WWE and Flat Earth is because we know that they pull punches, and we know that they actually do hit sometimes. And it's essentially they're stuntmen who like to throw each other around and smack each other around.
Right.
But and then there's the flat Earth people who believe that the Earth is flat and there's nothing you can do to change their mind.
And that everybody's been lying to us forever.
Like
right?
all the governments in the world have concluded. What's the word I'm looking for? Work together to work with NASA to show us CGI.
Yeah. And the Soviets and everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, everybody.
Right.
Everybody's been up there.
All the countries that.
Or have they?
Yeah. So it just, that's, man. I like conspiracy.
The New World Order.
I
Right?
legit like conspiracy theories because that sometimes they make for good entertainment, but I don't necessarily believe what I read and see on the internet. But
Sure, but skepticism is healthy.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Skepticism means that you're open to new information, and as your wisdom broadens, you move. Right into this new field, right?
Conspiracies have gone to a whole new level in the last couple of years.
Religions and flat Earth, that's all the same human capacity.
Right.
Yeah.
And why is that there? Why is that in our genes?
Yeah.
Why is that there? How is that helping us as a species? I don't know. It's bizarre.
Right.
Yeah.
We fill our time so much with that stuff when we could be focused on.
And it just gets us to either fight each other or work against our own interests or whatever it might be. And not always.
Right.
And I get it because
It's a way to cull the herd.
Well, it's interesting to me. It's a way to, instead of broadening, right, it tends to put on blinders, right, and diminish. All dogma does this, right? That's the whole fucking point of dogma, right? Yeah. And I don't know. It's weird.
The newest of conspiracies that just makes me just like head desk repeatedly is the people that are the whole QAnon thing. I don't want to go too deep into this because I can because I
don't.
It's like a grab bag of conspiracy theories. It's like all these stupid conspiracies you've heard of are now part of QAnon, and they're all gravitating towards this one thing. So much so that I think it was last year or year before that they believed that JFK was still alive and he was coming back.
Was coming back. Yeah.
Well, they thought both of them were coming back. They were both in hiding and they were coming back, and they were going to make their appearance near the grassy knoll, because that's where he would reappear.
It's bonkers. Yeah. It's and A and B. It's like they made the fatal mistake of putting a date to it.
Right.
By this date, such and such a lot. You never do that.
They should have learned from all the preachers that said the end of the world.
Oh yeah,
it never really stopped.
Why would you do that?
The televangelists, it's a fatal mistake.
Yeah.
Because guess what? It's fucking nonsense, and it didn't actually come true.
Right.
But evidently, that's not stopping the believers. Well,
it's next week, not this week. We got it wrong. Somebody put it in Google Calendar incorrectly.
But it's I don't know. Human beings. You know what I mean? Like. A cheating husband lies to their wife for fucking 10 years. It's like the wife knows better, but still goes along with it.
Right.
It's like it's the same kind of thing. It's like we get lied to all the time, and we still kind of go, oh.
That's what you accept, right?
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we get off the heavy topics?
Yeah, let's go on to funner things.
Let's get back to the Christmas, to the holiday cheer, shall we? I put a challenge to these gentlemen to come up with their top 5. I don't know if they fulfilled their homework assignment.
I actually did, because these are things that I definitely have issue with.
What they consider the worst holiday traditions. Okay? So I think we should go from 5 to 1, and we should each take turns.
So 5 being the least terrible?
The least terrible.
All right.
Okay.
I think they're all equally terrible on my list, but, mine are in no particular order.
We're going to go...
Is Mariah Carey on the list?
It should be, but it's not.
It's not.
So, Todd, why don't you start us off with your number 5?
The first one
The
first one on my list here is flocked trees. Why? Why do we really need to have Do we need to have fake snow inside the house that is going to give us cancer 6 years from now?
Let me just say this, because the wife put up a wreath on the front door, and I have 3 dogs, and when I open up the front door, I've got to kind of squeeze my way out because they want to come with me. But there's a flocked wreath on the front door, so... I think I got it all off. I get flocked as I leave the house.
You're totally flocked when you leave the house.
Totally flocked. All right. So my number 5 is I think that there's just way too many Christmas movies. Right? It just fills up.
It's an industry.
It totally is. There's a whole network about it.
It's a Christmas Story 24 hours a day.
The Rankin and Bass movies.
I love those.
Yeah. Give me Frosty. Give me Rudolph and the Misfit Toys.
I have those on my computer at home. I watch those every year.
Yeah, He-Man's the best.
That's my favorite. I have a little
Burgermeister Meisterburger.
Yes.
Love that guy.
Stop there, everybody. Stop there. No Hallmark. No GAC.
The Hallmark thing is just like, that's how...
Absolutely.
I mean, that's how young actors who don't act.
I'm looking for big city lawyer moves to the ninth circle of hell and tries to teach Satan about the joys of Christmas. That's the Hallmark movie I want.
I have to say, though, I don't know anybody. Actually, I take that back. I was going to say I don't know anybody who doesn't like it, but there's at least 2 people I know that don't like it. But A Christmas Story is something I watch every year, definitely.
Oh, sure, with Billingsley?
You put your eyes out, kid.
You put your eye out, kid. Yeah, that one. Yep. And I watched the new one that just came out too, and it hit me right in the feels. It did.
That's nice.
It had a nice little nod to Darren McGavin. Thank you.
It's a good call. All right.
And because he died years and years ago, and they had to have some sort of acknowledgement of him being the old man from the original movie. That they had the thing in the movie, and there wasn't. You know how in some sequels they always try to redo the same jokes from the original?
Yeah.
There's nods to everything, but there's not they don't redo every joke.
Was there a tongue on a flagpole?
No, but there was a very sketchy sledding thing that happened. Okay. And I'm not going to say because I think you guys should watch it.
My favorite was when the dogs came in and stole the turkey from the table.
Yeah, we see the Bumpus dogs again in the new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. What's your number 5?
I've never seen that film.
Never?
No, I feel like I really should.
All right, it plays 24 hours a day.
I know it does, right on
TNT,
some channel or the other. Is it TNT? Yeah.
Honestly,
I remember that happening years and years ago at a Christmas party.
Honestly, I would go ahead and rent it for $5 and watch it from beginning to end. Don't bother with that channel that plays it for 24 hours because every time that channel comes on, I see the same scene every time.
Yes, because that's some bizarre. I don't know what that
is.
And
The Matrix,
it's like the same 2 scenes. You'll come in and you'll see the Bumpus dogs. Oh my God, the Bumpus dogs! And then there's the fudge. Those are the 2 that always come up on my TV when I was flipping through.
The scene I do remember from that Christmas party or whatever that was the breaker pops and the dad is off of the ladder. Ran down to the breaker box, clicked it back on, and was back within seconds because he had done it so many times.
Right.
Was he dropping pennies in the fuse box?
He was doing the Yosemite Sam cursing too. Yaka frickin',
All right, Mike, hit us up with your number 5, baby.
I don't know if this is a tradition, but it's one of my pet peeves.
All right.
Is I do a lot of cooking, and I do a lot of holiday cooking for
pumpkin spice, isn't it?
It's just the cooking at my house and then trying to bring food to somebody else's house and it gets cold. That annoys the shit out of me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You need one of those Domino's pizza.
Yeah,
cars,
or
right?
the hot table.
The hot table,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
where's that for the other 51 and a half weeks of my life?
You can actually buy a pizza bag on Amazon.
That's probably not a bad idea. The last
actually
time I had insulated bag, I'd put some pies into it, and they were still too hot, and they melted my insulated bag and fucked up my pies. Yeah. I was going to lose my...
I actually got one from signing up to do, was it not DoorDash? What's the other one?
Uber Eats.
It's one of those, delivery companies.
Yes.
They sent me a free pizza bag.
Oh.
And it's a nice one. It's like the ones they have it like Pizza Hut and stuff. So I have one of those. I sometimes use it when I go shopping and stuff when I need to have a big bag to put stuff in.
Yeah, and that's a hot and cold thing, right?
Yeah, it works great.
Right on. All right, Todd, what's your number 4, baby?
Depressing music.
Oh
man,
some depressing.
There's
nothing
nothing
to be joyous.
Well, I mean, there's those sad Christmas songs, and people fucking love to play them, and I don't.
Like, will there be snow in Africa? Or
my absolute the one I hate the most, and I will punch a puppy for it, is Elvis's Blue Christmas. I fucking hate that song.
Okay.
Flat out, do not like it.
I think it was it's Collective Soul or somebody did a version of it. It's actually pretty good.
Wow.
I've heard versions of it that are not terrible, but the one Elvis one specifically has those backup singers.
Which the one part about that song I actually like. Yeah.
Oh God, maybe it was because when I was a kid, my dad would put that album on, and it was just like nails on a chalkboard. I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna punch you.
It's not Elvis's best work.
Without you,
I don't know.
It's not even his singing that bothers me. It's not even his singing that bothers me. It's the backup singers. The woo, woo. I'm like, will you shut up?
It's harder to do than you think it is, Todd.
Nice.
Backup ain't easy.
No, I'm not saying that they're terrible singers. I'm just saying I don't like that part of the song.
All right.
Because it got played so much at my dad's house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's a thing.
Right on.
I'm just trying to...
All right, my number 4 is the tradition of all the retail establishments and the ads and the commercials doing Christmas stuff before it's even friggin' Halloween. Right?
Sure.
Can't we get Thanksgiving? I remember when I was a kid, Christmas started the day after Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now it's like early October.
And I did hear, and this might just be an excuse for it, but that was because of, since the pandemic and the fucked up supply chain, blah, 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 that they did a bunch of, ordering because warehouse space was weird and really expensive, so just storing that stuff on site.
Makes sense.
So they had to move it out.
Well, I gotta say, Halloween is my absolute number 1 favorite holiday.
Yes, same.
And you do not interrupt it with your Christmas stuff. Merry Christmas, everybody. Yeah.
There's an audio that people use on TikTok and on Instagram of it starts playing that Mariah Carey song, and then you hear this, no, you wait till after Thanksgiving.
All right.
That's funny.
Hit us up with your 4.
Number 4, I don't know. This isn't really a holiday tradition, but being that it is December and right about winter solstice, it's like the sun goes down where we live, about 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Daylight
And
savings,
it gets rough because, it just gets rough. I have a lot of shit to do during the day.
Yeah.
And so when it just gets dark at 4 and then people look at me like I'm prowling when I'm working, it's like, it gets annoying. Yeah. But so that's not. I'm not blaming the holiday season for that, but it's a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's people.
Although I guess in the southern hemisphere, it's summer, right?
Yeah,
maybe that's the cure to that.
Maybe you just need to go to Tahiti or something, right?
Yeah.
Go down to Australia this time of year.
Yeah. All right, Todd,
California.
Number 3.
After depressing music, it was forced to be around Toxic Family.
Yeah, that's not number 1.
It should be, but it honestly, I really don't like flock trees in that damn song. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like I said, there's really no order. These are all equally as shitty, and I don't like them. But yeah, being around toxic family members are I mean, it's really a test of how how long can you be nice to someone who is a complete and utter dick to you the rest of the year?
About 90 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't tolerate anything.
Yeah,
I start being a dick and
stabby.
Yep. I'm really bad with a Capri Sun, but I will stab you in the neck.
Yeah, it's just too late in the game. We're adults.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
And then for me, I mean, I don't. I've got a couple of siblings left. My parents are passed. My grandparents long gone. I've got aunts and uncles across the country, but we rarely speak or talk or see each other for that matter. So I don't have that much of that problem. But I feel you, man.
It's for me. It's like it's siblings and my dad who just recently passed, which is. It's a weird thing. I had a very complicated relationship with my dad. He was never. He was only nice when he wanted something, and there was always strings attached when he did anything nice for me.
Yeah.
So, when he was gone, it was like, oh man, I'm not gonna have to block the house line anymore. I don't have to worry about him randomly calling me to ask me a stupid fucking question that has nothing to do with anything other than he just wants to bug me about something. And
I think, and make a note of this, I think we should have an episode about dads. Right? We should talk
that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Like
I mean, it will turn into a therapy session, guys.
No, but
Maybe
just it's something that, I mean, everybody's got one.
My dad was, okay, let's put it this way. My dad is such an asshole that I never wanted to have kids because I didn't have a positive father figure in my life.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
But I mean, geez, that's something we can all talk about. But that empowers the bad person and doesn't empower the possibility. Because if there's one thing that humans have, it's possibility.
Right.
But I guess that's good and bad, right?
That's true. It's a 50-50. Right?
Yeah.
All right. My number three is we used to go get our tree, real tree, day after Thanksgiving.
right, yeah.
Everybody and their brother is out there getting a tree on the day after Thanksgiving. It is so friggin' crowded. Yeah. So we're just like, you know what? We're just going to hit the lot around the corner.
This is when my mom eventually bought a fake tree, so she didn't have to do that stuff anymore.
We talked about that, and I think there's some pretty good one. And actually, you're sort of saving a little bit of the environment.
You're saving.
I mean, tree harvesting is not a terrible thing, right? Because it's kind of a net zero.
Honestly, it's just as a pain in the ass to set up a fake tree as it is to set up a real tree. I mean, let's be honest.
Don't they have the ones that are like an umbrella now, like a reverse umbrella?
I'm sure
they have ones that are like sectional that you put them in sections and then they everything just kind of flays out. That's not the right word. They just kind of fall out, and it just
Yeah, picture the Grinch, on the Grinch when he like.
Yeah, I wish that was that's what you should do. You should make an umbrella tree that we can all buy, and then have it go up halfway so it actually makes the shape of a tree.
Okay, don't steal that idea, guys.
Yeah. We may not have to cut this part out, honestly.
All right, number 3, sir.
Well, I was fortunate enough a number of years ago to spend the holiday season and then some in Eastern Europe.
Oh.
Which was great. But the thing I really liked there was day drinking.
Yeah.
Is very not only welcome but encouraged.
Yes.
Like out in society, day drinking.
Yeah.
So they've got these markets because the sun goes down early there and it's cold and blah, blah, blah. So there's like spiced wine and, you know what I mean? You can just walk around town drinking these warm alcoholic drinks and it's not only like accepted, it's encouraged.
Yeah.
So
right.
I'm not.
Yeah, but I think Eastern Europe doesn't do it like we do in the States, where people drink until they pass out.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think they know how to hold their liquor for sure.
But yeah. But it's not really a bad tradition, but it's something that we don't really do in the U.S. much.
Yeah.
I mean, once in a while, and recently we've gotten beer gardens or whatever, but that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, so bring back walk around the streets.
Heck yeah.
Drinking,
singing songs.
Yeah.
Cheers.
It's great,
A holiday
Isn't it?
pub crawl is what you're asking for.
Sure, something like that. Yeah.
Let's get that going on here in beautiful downtown Renton.
Well, all
Why
right.
not?
Let's do it.
Start off with our Jones special release.
If you want to throw a little vodka in there,
Exactly,
maybe.
yeah.
You know what? Actually, that would make this better is if we put in like vodka or something.
Vodka makes everything better.
Rum, maybe.
All right, what's your number 2, Todd?
My number two, white elephant gift exchange, and that kind of falls in line with the forced to be around toxic family, because it's cheap gifts that you find at the dollar store or wherever, and then the whole thing of like if somebody else got something you want, you can steal it from them and give them the one that you got or whatever.
I played that with family too, and people try to it's like if you really want it, friggin' take it.
Yeah, one person always goes above the $25 cap, and they buy something nice, and everyone's fighting over that one thing.
Yeah, we have a family member like that too on the wife's side that will go out and buy something fancy. I think one year. Well, it was more like the Yeti mugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're like $50.
Yeah, it's like,
go out and buy the PlayStation 5, the ones that people can't get anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, white elephants are interesting. It's kind of more fun if
that's
everybody plays by the rules.
That's something you do at work at a work gathering.
You're not putting any thought into gift giving.
You're not going out and buying. Actually, you're just
ain't happening, bro.
No, here's a pack of smokes. Actually, that's a lot of money.
A gift card. Yeah. That's the other thing. That was the other thing that people fought over was there was like a gift card for Amazon or something that people really wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, my number two is because I grew up with having turkey for Thanksgiving and also turkey for Christmas.
Same.
I can't do it, man. You got to have like a ham or something one of those days. A prime rib back in the day, something. Turkey twice in a month.
I actually, that's the one thing about the holidays that I really, that's one of the things I really liked about being around family is the fact that I got to eat turkey and go comatose for several hours.
Yeah.
I could sleep and they could be yammering on about whatever it is they're talking about, and I don't have to hear it because I'm asleep.
That's why addicts, I don't know, but that's why addicts love to go to family occasions. They can just nod the fuck off. It's great.
Food coma, and I grew up in a family full of addicts, so that's probably what it is.
They get to eat and then take a long
nap. Food, take a nap in a warm, safe place.
I'm the one normie in the family. Everybody else is, in recovery of some sort.
You're the normal one, Todd.
That's a term that people use in 12-step programs. They call people that don't drink to excess normies. That's a thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't consider myself normal by any stretch of the imagination. I am the most abnormal person you'll probably ever meet.
Mike, what's your number two,
buddy? I bet you're not.
What's your number two, sir?
Number two? Well, I'm going to bounce off of Todd and the gift card thing because I've actually been given gift cards that were used.
No. Yeah. Did they actually have a balance?
You got like $2 out of a $50 card or some shit like that. We were just like, but I guess it's worth a comedy, and we're talking about it now, so it's kind of. I don't know if I needed the extra $48. Maybe I did though.
Yeah, regifting a used gift card.
You got $2, right? Okay, so how did you figure out? Did you go online and check the?
No, I was in the store using it,
and you were like, I get $50.
I got 50. It already got my stuff, and
you were in line and everything.
Right. So it's funny, but also embarrassing and shitty at the same time.
Oh
well.
Dude.
Yeah. But I laughed. Overall, the laughter part wins out.
Yeah,
it's really difficult to embarrass.
That's when you go, oh yeah, that's from so and so. Of course,
of
course. Yeah.
All right, Todd, hit us with number one.
Number one.
Caroling with the family.
You went.
Jeez.
Caroling with the family is as painful as being the one sober person at a karaoke bar. It really is terrible.
Oh my goodness. Caroling, I remember having carolers as a kid. I grew up in the city, so I mean we had a lot more people, but in Seattle I should say, that city. But I don't remember caroling other than when I was maybe 8 or 9.
I think the last time we did it I was probably in my teens, but we were all sitting in the living room in various couches and chairs, and it was before we got to open presents.
Caroling.
No, it wasn't even going around the neighborhood. We just sat in the living room and sang like 6 or 7 songs.
That's the most wholesome fucking thing I've heard in days.
That's man. Great. But yeah, when you have nobody that can sing, nobody, and everyone tries to be like fucking Mariah Carey or fucking Celine Dion, and don't do that when you can't sing, folks.
Yeah.
See, I pictured Todd in like a top hat.
Oh yeah, just giving it
nice
the show.
suit.
Oh no, I'm the one who's like I'm. I'm lip syncing to everybody else. Terrible singing.
Got me through grade school music class. It sure did.
Oh man, I was too afraid to do like band class or anything like that because I knew I couldn't sing.
Yeah, see, I'd prefer caroling if it was like in a park, go to a busy place and sit there.
Go caroling when you actually walk around the neighborhood and go bother other people.
Dudes on fentanyl are a great audience.
I'm sure. All right, my number one is this annual tradition of declaring war on Christmas. We see this constantly, and it's complete bullshit. There is no war on Christmas.
What's really funny is, if anything, the whole idea of Christmas has been taken from other religions.
Yeah.
No, sure.
And if there's a war on Christmas, you've already fucking won. Okay, everybody celebrates this shit.
It's like the war on
everybody's
drugs.
buying it.
Won, bro.
Won.
But I would just say that goes back to the beginning of our conversation today. That is culture war stuff.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, the people that say that the most are the people who refuse to acknowledge other holidays during the winter months. It's like, there's only Christmas.
All right.
So you only say Merry Christmas. So it doesn't matter if there's like 150 other religions that have holidays during the winter months.
Isn't it the human species been staring at the stars and working their way through the shortest days of the year?
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, for a long time, bro. A long time. So
the History Channel, back when they actually had history on the channel, had a documentary that they used to play during the holidays that tells you where everything in Christmas came from.
Oh, sure.
It's like the Yule log comes from Yule, which is a Norse pagan holiday, which is where we get the Christmas tree and the Yule log, and I think stockings came from Germany or UK or some shit.
Based on Saturn or Saturnia or something?
Saturnalia, yeah.
Saturnalia, yeah.
Yep. Saturnalia.
Roman traditions.
Well, the thing is like everything we celebrate today as Christmas came from like 6 or 7 different winter holidays from pagan religions.
Sure.
Yeah. And for my Jewish friends, Hanukkah is a big deal, but it's not the biggest deal of the year, right? Rosh Hashanah is like the biggest traditional
because that's
holiday,
atonement.
right?
No, well, it's not really
not a holiday, but
it's a day of atonement or whatever. But
right.
No. I mean, there's a specific miracle that occurred for Hanukkah, but no, that just kind of came along as don't forget about.
Yeah, it's like, this is similar time of year, right?
Fine. Yeah. Well, it's a different calendar altogether. So, but give or take, it's nearby.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a whole different. It's a lunar calendar. As most of them were.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a whole nother subject matter, right? But remember, I don't know. That's a whole other thing.
We'll get into that when we do our religion episode.
Because all of these things are parameters for not just our language and culture and all of those things set up, not just the parameters for our common culture, but our actual thought processes. Right? Different languages, you think differently when you speak different languages, right? That's just the way it is. It's not a hardwired A to B kind of thing.
Right.
So it's like...
That's why translations are so hard.
Yeah.
Mike, end this top 5 segment with your number one.
Number one worst holiday tradition.
Number one.
Geez, the worst holiday tradition.
In your mind.
Yeah, I would just go with commercialization because it kind of
Yeah.
That's just silly. I know. I like the idea.
Everything
that
has a price. Yeah.
And whatever we want to determine as family to us, hallelujah.
Right.
And that we can find a time to get together. I don't like being pressured into coming together because that kind of takes some of the magic away from it, right? But that we do kind of go, well, we need to find time to come together, break bread, right? And kind of catch up over the last year.
Yeah.
We're all really busy humans.
I mean, the meaning of the season, right? Besides the birth of the Christ, right, is joyous occasion, right? It's to get together and to celebrate life and celebrate family and all that stuff. So
beat back the darkness a little bit.
Beat back the darkness, yeah, because we're right in the middle of the...
Fucking A, it's always a little bit scary, right? It's like, we're just spoiled because we have electric lights whenever the fuck we want them. That hasn't always been the case, right?
Lights.
And, just remember that humans have been around for a long time, and even longer than that is humans in groups.
Right.
Because we can't do jack squats as a singular human. So we need our family groups and our tribal groups and then our community groups and blah, 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 and traditions and all that stuff that form from that. That's, to me, the good part of Christmas. So just to have sales and stuff like that is so antithesis of such a thing. It bothers me.
Right.
You know, and I'm not alone in that. And that's not a eureka moment for anybody.
Yeah.
All right. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Everybody, come on.
Whew.
Yeah.
Good discussion, guys. Good discussion. So, one other segment we would like to start doing is sharing something, kind of a show and tell. Not even a show, but to tell something you've discovered, maybe in the past week or two or a month. Yesterday, something that fascinated you. Hey, if that fascinated you and you want to share it, then by all means. So, Mike, why don't you kick us off on this? Is there something that you...
Well, it was a news thing. Does that count or something?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, the successful Livermore Labs, offshoot.
I've heard about
of
this.
A fusion reaction made more megajoules than it cost.
This is awesome. So this is the first time they've recorded net gain, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Minus the laser themselves.
Sure.
Right now, I don't know the ins or outs, and so hopefully next week, unless something blows this out of the water, because this is our Star Trek. This is the first step of our Star Trek future.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, or whatever you want to call it.
Cheap energy for all.
I
without
still
burning shit.
Yeah,
without
it's a thing. It's a
turbine.
I just want a holodeck.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
warp drive is fine. Warp
way.
drive is fine, but I want a holodeck.
Sure, but it would take a tremendous amount of electricity, I would assume.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't know.
Maybe they could use that technology to make a holodeck.
Well, if we got some dilithium crystals,
And
is a major step.
And the thing from Back to the Future,
Mr. Fusion?
No, the
flux capacitor.
Flux capacitor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heisenberg compensators on Star Trek. I love it. It's like, what? I'm messing with the uncertainty of quantum whatevers. I don't know.
Just get Wesley in here and have him spout off some techno babble. We'll be fine.
A lot, and that's why I trust experts. Thanks.
Yeah.
Really, they've studied these fields. It's okay, and just new sciencey stuff. We did the cool moon. Right, they passed through the orbit of the moon at like 70 miles.
Yeah, we're going back to the moon too, right?
Came back successfully. That's awesome, and that's all public monies. Thank you kindly.
Yeah.
And just the photos that have come back from Jupiter and some other spots from the new James Webb telescope.
Yeah, that thing is amazing.
It's pretty neat, man.
Oh my gosh.
Or I think Jupiter might have been a different satellite, but still, there's a
Either
bunch
way.
of cool space stuff, man, and I like it.
Yeah.
I think that's a really, I don't think humans need to leave Earth. I really discourage us to do so because we've already found a very livable planet. It's called Earth.
As long as we don't ruin it.
Yeah, as long as we don't.
Lord.
Yeah, and if you didn't know, Mike is our resident science officer here on the big shows.
Glad we have one of those.
Yeah,
Because I'm just a nerd.
Todd, do you want to go? Do you want to?
Yeah, you know what? I was watching Egypt Archie, who's part of the Comic Dads.
Oh yeah, no,
he was doing a stream on Twitch playing a game, and I go, dude, this game looks really cool. What is this? He goes, it's called High on Life. It's from the creators of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And it's a first-person shooter, but you start off looking like you're playing an old-school like Doom-style game, or the old 8-bit graphics or 16-bit graphics. And then as you're playing it, you realize that's your character playing a video game, and then you're on your game after you finish that level in that game. And then you have this. I don't want to give away too much, guys, but if you like Rick and Morty, and you're into gaming, you gotta check out High on Life because I think it's available on all the normal platforms. So like Xbox, whatever the new ones are, and the PlayStations, and I got it on Game Pass for the PC. So if you pay $10 a month for Game Pass, you get the game for free. So I did that.
So all of these games, because I'm out of the scene, none of them have a disc that they come with.
Not anymore. Every game you get nowadays is a download.
So it's all just up in some cloud.
You download it to the hard drive on your system, and then you play it. You can play it offline.
Sure.
Some of them, not all of them. Some of them require an online connection, but this one, and it's fun to play. But I am stuck on the first boss. And I played it normal, and then I decided, I'm going to go back and play it on easy, what they call story mode. And it's still fucking hard.
Well, you won't get bored then.
I gave up on it after that level. I was like, I can't get any further than this. I love the game, though. It has, there's it's just inappropriate humor. So if you're someone who's sensitive to dick and fart jokes and cursing, don't play the game. Again, if you like Rick and Morty, you're going to love the game because that's essentially what that show is. But yeah, I played it for like several hours yesterday, and I got to that point twice, and each time I got stuck there, and I'm like, God damn it, I can't get past this. I may have to hand it to the teenager in the house and say, can you get past this level, please?
When in doubt, ask an expert.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And what is Egypt's Comic Dads?
The Comic Dads is their thing. They do well. They start off as a podcast, but now it's more of an online streaming thing where he does gaming on Twitch and YouTube, and I think the other guys they all go to conventions and stuff as podcasters and do interviews and and do panels with celebrities and shit, which is something I've always wanted to do but never got around to being able to do that. But yeah, so that's, I mean, the Comic Dads, I think, is just what their username is for all the platforms if you want to check them out. But yeah, they talk about, they do, when they were doing their podcast stuff, they were doing, like, they would talk about TV shows and movies and actual comics. They would talk about the books they've read recently, and then they would do beer sampling and talk about whatever it is they're currently drinking. So we kind of did that with the Jones
Sure.
turkey and gravy soda. I don't recommend it. What do you guys?
Well, for
delicious.
Fun. Yeah, for fun.
Delicious.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah.
It's not something I would do on a regular basis.
Delicious.
Jelly beans, the strange flavored jelly beans.
Yeah.
Same, but those were
The vomit,
Yeah,
boogers.
I mean, it
Oh,
was
the Harry Potter beans.
earwax.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's much more radical.
All right, well, I'm going to hit you guys with some music. And
Okay.
Whether you love him or don't like him that much, Bruce Springsteen just came out with a double album about 3 weeks ago. The Boss. I'm a big Boss fan. He has a new album. It's called Only the Strong Survive. It's a double album of covers. So it's Bruce Springsteen doing covers of old R&B songs. And, you know, at first you're like, man, you can't, those R&B singers from back in the day, you know, the Commodores and Sam and Dave and stuff like that.
Oh, so we're talking like
that kind of
70s
voice,
and 80s old school?
We're talking 60s
or are we talking older?
and 70s, right?
60s and 70s.
60s
Okay.
and 70s. So Only the Strong Survive. He does songs by the Four Tops. He does songs by the Temptations, maybe a little Supremes.
I would
in
imagine
there,
it's-
Commodores, stuff like that.
It's pretty good.
Actually, really good.
Because it's Springsteen. I can't imagine it would suck. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I don't think his music is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, he's a professional's professional.
right.
You take the voice of a Benny King and you take a voice of a Bruce Springsteen and you think, okay, no, they're not going to do each other's songs, right? But Bruce actually does these justice if you give him a listen. So my favorite song on the album is called Soul Days. It was originally done by Dobie Gray.
Okay.
It's just a really good song, and he's got, if you remember the duo Sam and Dave, the R&B group, Sam and Dave, they're Rock and Roll Hall of Fame guys. He's got Sam singing sort of backup with him, featuring him on a couple of the songs. So it's a really good album. If you get a chance, check it out.
Any idea who produced it?
So here's the interesting thing is Bruce sings and plays guitar and I think a little piano. And he's got a producer. I don't know the guy's name, but the guy that produced it plays all the other instruments: drums, piano, bass, everything else. So they sat in Bruce's studio at his house because, of course, he's probably got 3 studios in his house, right? And they worked out these songs, and this is volume 1. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another album like this. So
Jeez.
yeah,
And then, so 30. How many songs on?
probably about 20 songs,
All right.
maybe
Yeah.
5 aside.
Nice.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And I saw him once years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was cool. But then he came out with a steel guitar solo, and did "Born in the USA" in this very gruff, downbeat, and it really fit. I thought much better than the typical "Born in the USA" that we know.
Okay.
And it was really, I thought it was very well done.
Yeah,
that was the take-home moment from that show.
If you've got HBO or HBO Max, Howard Stern, love him or hate him, does an interview of Bruce Springsteen, and Springsteen comes out and plays acoustic guitar and jumps on the piano, and he plays a few songs, and he describes his writing process and talks about his history. I mean, he's been around since the 60s, right, doing music. So it's a really interesting interview. It's about an hour-long show, so if you get a chance, check that out as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I like The River as an album.
The River's good. Nebraska album or Ghost of Tom Joad?
Ghost of Tom Joad.
Is that the one?
That's the album, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it playing a little bit here. Wow, this is... Yeah, I'm not going to play the whole thing, mind you.
Yeah, check it out, guys.
I mean, if we post this on Facebook or YouTube, we might get flagged for that little section, but probably not because I didn't play that much of it.
We're like...
Yeah.
We didn't play the whole thing.
And my lawyer, they're friends.
They're buddies. They're good friends. So
we're promoting the album. Go buy it. Go listen. It's on Spotify if you want to check it out.
I've got the clear green on vinyl.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's neat.
That's pretty cool.
And that's $40. How much was that?
Yeah, so probably 30, 35, $40.
Yeah, I went to Singles Going Steady recently, and record prices really are not far from where they've been since the 70s, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there were albums back in the day for $6.99 or whatever.
Just
but
for inflation and stuff.
But now the actual physical quality, it's way better.
Yeah.
I mean, they measure it in grams or
like
the weight of it. Yeah.
Thing,
I mean, but they're, way better.
Yeah, I'm a tactile person, so I don't just buy streaming stuff. I'll buy the album.
Sure.
And maybe I'll get
But typically, you get a download code anyway, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
Great, so.
Anytime I've bought in physical media, it always comes with a code for streaming or downloading it. And I usually just use the download code. I don't ever actually listen to the physical media or watch it.
Sometimes I wouldn't mind, us getting a record player and stuff, or some type of thing like that.
Yeah.
Because I go through.
But this album is called "Only the Strong Survive." Bruce Springsteen.
That is.
Survive.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who it is.
If only we had a device so we could look things up.
Yeah. Take it away, Tom.
Yeah. Well, I've been going to a lot of punk rock shows, and so recently I saw the Heeps, H-E-E-P-S, who have my favorite local guitar player, Fred Speakman, and also my buddy Theo on bass, and he's also just amazing. But Speakman's ridiculous.
We got to see if we can get them come in and talk about music.
Sure, yep. Or at least I'll go to them.
Set up on stage and
sure,
play
that'd be great. Yeah, and so as we said previously, we are at the Renton Civic Theatre, which is an active and very vibrant playhouse.
Yeah.
But there's also...
Do about 6 shows a year.
Yeah, and plus a bunch of other events. We really do. It's very busy.
Okay. The original version of the song is Jerry Butler from 1968 on the album The Iceman Cometh.
All right. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
The power of Google. The stage right now has a set on it because we're right in the middle
They're actually having
Christmas
tech day or something, right? Yeah.
No, Tech Day is coming up.
Oh.
Next show, but
what's tonight? They're doing something tonight. Yeah, who knows?
I don't
They're
know.
out there though.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
Anyway,
but
cool.
Hopefully,
Thanks.
we can be on the stage.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
So
that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
So that's coming.
Yeah.
And then someday maybe we'll even have a live studio audience.
I would absolutely love to do a podcast live on
Yeah, I would
stage.
love it, and because part of the themed, little ditty that I'm writing, it has a chorus part that the more the merrier. Because it's a we do chorus.
Nice.
We got to get
We
the
need the
crowd
we's
involved.
to make the we do. Because us singing, it's not. Because
we do pretty good.
but
I don't know how it goes yet, but we do.
You're going to ask me to sing? Okay.
Well, thank you guys for sharing. We'll do more of that every week, I hope.
Yeah.
Share, because it's good to bring stuff that we're enjoying and share it with the world. And then this was us, Our Town Podcast.
This is the pilot episode.
Pilot episode. We'd like to sort of end on a positive note, I think, every show, if that's cool with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, Todd actually sent a message out, I think last week or early this week, about checking in with people.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what was
talked
I
to for a while.
it was somebody else's post that I reposted. I don't remember exactly what it said now. It was basically just checking in on your friends, during the winter months because, seasonal depression is a thing. And Those of you that have it only during the seasons, lucky. But I'm trying to find it here. But yeah, just checking in on your friends, especially if you haven't heard from them in a while. And, they can be kind of down on things, and just say, hey, how you doing? You don't have to say, are you feeling depressed? Just send a message or call them and say, we haven't talked in a while. What you been up to?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd literally just call people and say, hey, just checking in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is it?
So do that.
Yeah, it's not a bad habit. Right? And it doesn't take long, and you don't have to pay long distance fees anymore.
Not anymore.
No, I mean,
reach out and touch someone.
Remember we used to have little long distance cards you'd have to put in.
Oh yeah.
Well, I kind of had a crush on the 1-800-AT, one of them. Right, one of the, because I was calling, long story, but anyway, doing a lot of collect calls.
I'm not sure I know this.
But the actual computer voice, not even the ad person, but whoever that voice was, there was just some type of
the voiceover actress who did the voice for AT&T.
Costing real money, and it's not like it's
Please insert another 25 cents.
This is giving me Raj from Big Bang Theory, and was it Siri? He got a new iPhone, and he's he fell in love with his phone because Siri has a nice voice.
There was a movie like that, right? With
with Joaquin Phoenix. Okay, I found that post.
All right, lay it on us.
And this is what it says here: check on your people. Don't wait for them. Just do it, and do it often. You never know what they could be going through and how much hearing from someone could make an impact.
Yeah.
And I basically said, this is me checking in on my friends, and I got a bunch of responses, which is great because generally speaking, I don't get any response from the things I post. But which is fine.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys are good, unless you got something else you want to talk to.
no.
All right. I got Cousin Todd on my left.
Yep, that's me.
I got Mayor Mike on my right. And I'm Charles.
You don't have a moniker?
I don't yet. We'll go. Maybe we'll come up with one every week. So this week I'll be Bumpy.
Bumpy.
I'm Bumpy today.
Charles Bumpy.
The Bump. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in if you're there. And we'll see you next week.